servant put his hand, okay, now that the servant made a commitment to do these things, he put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him according to the matter, which is word, according to his word. According to his word. So he promised. Now listen, this is where it's from the technique. So the covenant or the responsibility is on the servant or the spirit. Okay? Yeshua and the Father now saying they out of the scene, but now the spirit is bringing the bride. Are you hearing me? The spirit does not change. And that's why Yeshua said, no man can come to me except what? The Father draw. So the Father has already sent. How does the Father draw? The Spirit. Why do people say, man, did you feel the Spirit?
When I was teaching, I was saying that God chose us. That's what He did. He chose us and led us.
You see that? The Spirit. On 45, they said in the Halloween costumes, that's real big. They got a big sign that say the Spirit of Halloween. That's right. That's right. It is a spirit. What? I can see it. Come by here to Mara and take the city around the Gulf Coast and around the world. Look at the spirit of Halloween. How it's moving people. They're being moved by the spirit of Halloween. How you know, Sherman? Watch their costume. So you being moved. So if any believer is dressed up tomorrow, he's being moved by the spirit of Halloween. And we know that ain't the spirit of Yahweh. It's not the spirit of Yahweh. That is the spirit that's leading this age. And it's going to be rampant tomorrow. I don't want to get on.
I noticed on most of the advertisements I've seen, it's just been jumping out at me how they're not really pushing the jack-o'-lantern theme as much as the horn, the devil horn theme. It's like they're not trying to disguise what it's really about anymore. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a little cartoon from some store that's selling costumes. I think it's Target. And at the very last part, not a cartoon, but a commercial. And at the very last of the commercial, they're using the Thriller theme from Michael Jackson. And they're all dancing around with their costumes on. I think it's Target. And the very last frame they show, just like almost subliminal, they flash it, and then it's gone. It's a little baby with a little devil suit on. And a little infant, not even a toddler yet, with a red suit on, with horns, and a little pitchfork. And then they show the baby laughing with little flames jumping up around it. And then it goes off. It's like almost subliminal. At the end of the commercial, they flash that. Maybe 2 seconds of the frame of this little baby with this, and then it goes away. And I was like, wow, that's heavy. You know? It's like they're not really trying to disguise what it's really about.
Yeah.
It's in your face.
It's right out there. You know, they said that, I mean, it's almost like the best thing is that if you put it out there, that people don't really believe it when it's sitting right there behind them. It's right there. And so you put it out there. You know, and as you just said, the little baby. Well, where do you start? You start with the babies.
Well, even in school, like my son, the whole week was around, I was awful. Like, what is this? You know, it's like show and tell. It's like, oh, well, the category is Halloween. It's like, well, it's not about October. I even called Dad and I was like, what do you mean the theme's Halloween for show and tell? Like, what is that? I'm not doing that. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, send him with a devil or a grave, or like, do I go like maybe the festival of the dead? Try to do something else. It seems a little morbid for a 3-year-old. Yeah. Like, I don't want to stick. I just didn't take him.
I figured out it's terrible how the schools have taken out prayer.
This is a daycare.
But now they can have Halloween.
Yeah.
They're worshiping their own God. But they can't worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
They call it
That's
book
terrible.
character day at my kids' school.
Yeah, well, this is it's kind of a daycare, but he's 3. But it would true what it said, you know, this week is around, and they had a Halloween party, and then show and tell is bring something that has to do with Halloween. I said, what am I supposed to do? And he didn't want to just not bring anything, but what do you do? It's weird.
It's hard to when you have children
Yeah.
because they've been indoctrinated into it by the time they're 3 years
It's
old.
ridiculous.
Mine fighting with me right now about it.
Yeah.
No Halloween, you know,
No Santa Claus
it's
Sorry.
it's a struggle.
Yeah, especially when, you know, the others.
Peer pressure.
People
is-
think you're awful for taking away
Oh,
Santa
yeah.
Claus from them.
Oh yeah. And when you try to explain it to them, they look at you like, you know, like
Yeah.
you're devil worship.
Yeah, seriously. Because you don't do Halloween.
Yeah. The funny part is that I've noticed, and I've noticed it before I've been coming here. This is just something to me that I've been looking for because I've explained to Sherman that I've been, as I read the scriptures, I noticed the inconsistencies with the way we do things in the so-called Christian community.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started speaking to people about it, when you talk about observing the Torah as it's written, they act like you're talking about something that's like it's sacrilegious.
Or cult.
Occultic. And I'm like, no, it's right there. I mean,
Yeah.
what's so wrong about it? Even if we have license, as you say, to do something different than that, what's wrong with doing it as it's written? Why is that so terrible in your eyes? You know, why do you think that it's wrong of me to insist on holding a service on the Sabbath, for instance? You know,
Yeah.
well, we observe Sunday. Well, it's no problem. If you feel you have the license to do that, so what? So be it. What's wrong with doing what Yahweh says to do? What's wrong with doing it that way? Why? How could you possibly think that that's wrong if that's what's written?
Right.
But that's how brainwashed society has become. They think it's wrong to do what Yahweh
But
says to do.
They even teach you in school that Sunday is the first day of the week. Like, and my son brings home the Spanish books, and I'm doing the Spanish stuff. It teaches me, you know, like Sunday is the first day, and then the Sabbath is just like it says Sabbath basically in Spanish, and it's the seventh day, the day of rest. It means the day of rest.
Yeah,
Like-
people have been so indoctrinated into it, and I just pointed out to somebody one time, look at your calendar. The calendar
Starts on Sunday.
still shows the days as they are. And they say, well, you know, I've never noticed that before, Jeff. And I said, well, it's right there. You know, it's not hidden.
My sister, I've been talking to her, and one day she just said, you know what? I just accepted doing all these other holidays without any question.
No, that's-
I don't know why I'm sitting there arguing about why not to do the one that
They do it instinctively.
it just hit her. She said, I don't know why.
They do it in
So then she started doing it. She said, you know, I don't know why.
It's
I'm
just like
questioning
we
it.
as Americans have been taught that Pledge of Allegiance since we were little children. And you don't think of yourself as being patriotic until you hear somebody that comes along from a foreign country putting down America, and all of a sudden these feelings jump up in you that you didn't know was there. And you become combative, and you
Or
suddenly
even
find yourself...
smaller scale, like just text it to
Yeah,
me.
Texas too. Even that. Yeah,
We're very defensive.
it's not. You don't know it's in you
Yeah.
until it jumps up in you.
Right.
And those, you know, they'll defend all those things without realizing how strongly they feel about it. And then when you point out the fact that it's in contradiction to the word, if you have somebody who's thoughtful enough, they can see and they go, well, I don't understand why I reacted like that because what you're saying is
I
the
think
truth.
that was yours.
It is the truth, but
That's
and
yours.
basically I've had them tell me, well, I know that all that's true, Jeff, but I don't care. This is what we do, and this is what we're going to continue to do.
So now they just do all of
I
them.
said, that's fine, like Joshua told